All right. So, with the announcement of, I know it was a few months ago, but as you all know, we are getting a Disney Villain Land. Hooray! Yeah, it's clearly in response to Dark Universe over at coming from Epic Universe. So, I kind of thought, like, what would I like to see as a YouTuber? Like, I mean, as a fan of Disney villains, what would I personally like to see, and what should be in the land? Like, what could make me interested enough to go, ooh, that would be interesting if we did that with a Disney Villain Land. And keep in mind, that concept art looked really, really ambitious. That concept art looked really ambitious. But here's the thing, and I'm not trying to sound this as like a Disney downer or whatever, and yes, I am aware that I've always been more of a Universal Studios fan than I am Disney these days. In fact, I think that's always been the case. But I've never been, like, malicious towards Disney. I've never been, like, one of those people who's like, oh, Disney went, such and such, and things like, Disney went woke, or this and that. I never was like that. I just feel like the quality of Disney has dipped exponentially. It really does feel like the era of late Michael with this era of Bob Iger, it feels like we're getting into his late Michael Eisner stage, where, say what you want to, and let me explain of this connection. Basically, when Michael Eisner, we all hated Eisner sucked in his later years, but you have to give him credit because the dude saved Disney from itself. He literally came in, swooped in, did all these things that saved Disney. Although some of those things were in response. That's just, and yeah, he did a lot of stuff that was in response to what were the other parks, copied it and made it better. But again, as the years went on, and you could clearly see you saw the rise, you could clearly pinpoint the fall. You can clearly pinpoint it with the fall of Euro Disney. Post Euro Disney, everything was like the peak, and then when we hit Euro Disney, it was all going downhill. Then when Iger stepped in, it was all sunshine and rainbows and shit. And now we've reached someone needs to step in and stop Iger now. That's just the way of the business. It's always said best. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And we have now reached Iger's villain stage. He was yes, he's a corporate billionaire. They're all villains. But now the villainy is starting to really show. Same with Eisner. So yeah. You have a lot... and he's not... Until now, you've become the very thing you've sworn to destroy. So... Villain Land. Let's get back to that. I'm sorry, I'm going to get off my soapbox real quick. Yep, there I go. So, Disney Villain Land. Let's talk about the Disney Villain Land. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Now, couple things. I don't think that concept art is going to match what we see. And yes, that is concept art. I'm well aware that that's not what we're probably going to get in any way, shape, or form. The concept art... the carpets aren't exactly going to match the drapes, if you know what I mean. Meaning that what we saw in that concept art, which I don't think was AI. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, that's clearly AI generated. I don't think it is. At least I hope not. I'm going to pray it's not. But I don't think we're going to get all of that Disney, what we saw in that image and there. Especially with how lackluster Disney has been with land making. It doesn't feel real. Like, it doesn't feel like everything, like Avengers Campus, there's no life there. Star Wars Land. I've been to the Star Wars Land in at MGM. I know it's called Hollywood Studios. It's still Disney MGM to me, damn it. I'm that old. Yeah, and even then I'm walking around and going, there's no life here. Like, I don't feel like I'm immersed in this land. Whereas opposed to at Universal Studios, even though I'm not a fan in any way, shape, or form of Harry Potter, I feel immersed in Diagon Alley or, Hogsmeade. It feels like I stepped into that world and am now a part of that story. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a big thing. I've always said, like, oh, they're doing more. Like, I understand a lot of people are like naysaying that they do so much Harry Potter stuff, me as a fan of Universal Studios, I'm like, they do a lot of like Harry Potter stuff, but that's all for, if that can get me things like Dark Universe or other things in the park that I like, go ahead, make your money. Now, I'm sorry, I keep getting off topic so many times, I apologize. But getting back to the land itself, that's what I'm trying to say, is that I really do feel like the land is going to feel not what we want. It's just going to feel hollow. It's going to, like, I just feel like it's not going to have that same energy. Like, you're not going to walk into a world of villains. You're going to walk into a world of corporate greed. Ooh, that was a good one. Anyway, but what can I, so for this video, and I know we're like 6 minutes in, what can we do? Like, what would I like to see in this Disney Villain Land that could give me some hope for it? Well, first and foremost, you gotta have some rides. I know there's been rumors that it will open with 2 rides. I think that was even said that they want to try for 2 rides, and it does look like a coaster is one of them. Now, I think that's a good idea of doing a coaster. Now, as opposed to what that coaster could be, I think it would be really cool if, like, you have it with Maleficent's castle, and also take a page out of what was lost in what was supposed to be Beastly Kingdom. You see, and I know you all know this story, back in with Animal Kingdom wasn't just a hodgepodge of a mess of things and totally losing the message of conservation. I'm sorry, I will keep going. There was a time where they wanted to introduce both animals prehistoric and imaginary, but they didn't have the budget at the moment for doing the animals of Beastly Kingdom. That was the imaginary land. That eventually became Avatar. But in those concepts, there was a coaster that was meant to be you were a bat trying to steal treasure from this dragon, and in the concept you see a giant dragon animatronic in it. So wouldn't it be cool if Disney made a coaster like that they had with Beastly Kingdom, and what they could do is have a big Maleficent dragon animatronic showing up and, like, popping out every so often, not shooting fire, but maybe like steam coming out of it, like smoke coming out of the mouth, or something like that. Just go big with an animatronic, maybe even have like animatronic guards. You could also make this not so much well, you could still make it a coaster, but maybe something in the vein of Revenge of the Mummy, aka my favorite ride at Universal Studios, in case anyone was wondering. I think that would be the best idea. The coaster idea would be neat, and you could still do it as a coaster. In fact, Revenge of the Mummy is a coaster. But what you could do is have a lot of fun with it, making it both a dark ride / coaster, where you could have little animatronics of Maleficent's goons. You could have a big entrance of Maleficent's dragon. You could have it like you're going through the briars that she summons. Yeah. Go all out. Like, really have some fun with it. Even have it like you could have Maleficent, like, throwing fireballs at you. I don't know. Go, like, show me some imagination there. As for what else could be there for another ride, I think, like, another one, and this is a little more unique. Like, I've got a few other ideas, but this one's a little more unique. It's another dark ride where in here you follow, like, a Disney version of a prison. Like, it's a prison for all the villains. And the villains have now all broken out, and now they're all terrorizing you. Like, you could have it be like some Disney character. You could have Goofy be your guide. And essentially what it is that Goofy's the chief of security at the Vault of Villains or something. And Goofy, being, well, Goofy, has accidentally let them all out, and now you are trapped alongside them and trying to escape, while Goofy is being terrorized by all these villains. Yeah. Kind of, like, make it like again, and I'm, like, the Disney villains were clearly meant to, like, the whole Disney villain line. Let's get this shit out the way. And I'm actually going to say this, is that there will be a kind of part 2 to this of something else been on my mind. But I wanted to give this for context. Essentially, the Disney villain line has only been out to compete with Universal Studios' Universal Monster line. That is it. Did you all notice that it showed up like a year after when Universal Studios started to rebrand the Universal Monsters and gave them new life? In fact, like, again, Dark Universe is the only, like, again, Villain Land, only reason they're doing is because of Dark Universe. Try to change, you can't change my mind on that. So, I say, you know, since these corporate, and yes, Universal does take from Disney too. I'm not stupid. Like, I'm well aware that that Universal Studios also takes from Disney. I am well fucking aware. But, so, if we're gonna go by that, kind of make it like the Monsters, like this Volta Villains ride, kind of like the Villains Unleashed ride, the Monsters Unleashed ride over at Dark Universe that's coming out. Except make it a little less intense so you could have younger, obviously you'd have to make it, less intense to keep, so you could have younger riders. But I really do think that could be a cool idea of doing like a fun dark ride where it's kind of like a, what do you call it? It's like a free, like it's the type of dark ride where you're like on the, like it's on a trajectory. It's like Runaway Railroad. Fuck, I could not say that, get that word out. Where you have it like be a free motion dark ride, and it's all, you're seeing all these scenes of like again, going with Goofy as the guard, being terrorized by all these villains, and even have like some animatronics pop out, things like that. Like you could have just a hodgepodge of villains. Like you could have Facilier, you could have Hades, Hook, Maleficent, obviously, the Evil Queen, Scar, all of them, really. Like even throwing some fun ones. Like yeah, give us the horn. Like give us some lesser ones too. Like you could have a little scene where like it's a little scene where like the person behind the breakout maybe maybe have it that Goofy thought he was the one behind it, but really the one who really broke everyone out was Ratigan. Like Ratigan snuck in. He's a fucking mouse. He could break in, and Goofy's like, "Gorsh, I didn't know that thought that was me." So yeah, even have some fun with it. Have Mickey, like, have it be a full ensemble with, like, have Mickey, Donald, and Goofy be all three of the guards, and they're all just getting the crap scared out of them by all these villains until Mickey gets the sorcerer hat at the end of the ride and seals them all back up in the vault. Yeah, there you go. I mean, that's kind of what I'd like to see. That's what I'd like to see. Some really ambitious ideas for rides. Maybe even maybe even have at the end a giant Chernabog animatronic or something. I don't. You got Disney. You have money. Don't say like. But it just feels like these past few Disney rides have just felt really cheap. I think Tiana's Bayou Adventure is just okay. It's not awful like some people are trying to say, but I do feel like there's no sense of like danger, and the story feels really weak. I really do feel like it could have benefited from having Dr. Facilier in some capacity in the ride, especially the drop, because now it just feels like, okay, going over the hill now. That's really it. So yeah, that's like, these are so ambitious, so Disney's gonna be like, whoa there, that's a little too ambitious. We need to have a corporate sanitation here. Haven't you seen what we did to Epcot? I swear, it's just, I want to stop making jokes, but it's just so fucking easy. Anyway, I think another cool ride would be like a boat adventure, and this one's gonna be a little weird. Maybe do like a boat adventure, kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean, but have it be like in the vein of Captain Hook, where it's now you're in Neverland and you're following Captain Hook as he's terrorizing the island, and at the end of it, Peter Pan wins. Like Peter Pan beats him and the crocodile chases him off. Like it would be another cool Peter Pan ride, and just have it be like we're just in the boat watching all these cool scenes of like Hook and Shmi and all of his crew just having a lot of fun and terrorizing the island, and like attacking the Lost Boys, or chasing the Native Americans, or fighting them off, or, you know, chasing the mermaids. There's a lot of like you could do a lot in Neverland, like having it be like Hook and his crew are just here to look for Peter Pan, and we're terrorizing the island until he shows up. Oh, there's Peter Pan. Now now we're screwed. I think also it would be kind of a cool show. Like, let's talk about some shows. I think what would be cool for a show would be a Hades theme show. Like, there was a great one on Disney. I went on the Disney cruise years ago where they had this Hades Villains Tonight, and it was hysterical. So maybe bring that from the cruise over to as a live show. That would be kind of neat, like him talking about all these villains, and just have this just have someone with comedic energy playing Hades and just riffing on the crowd, everybody. I think theme parks need more shows, and that's also a dig at Universal too, because I feel like shows are a lost art, and they're great people eaters too. So maybe a show wouldn't hurt anybody. So, and it's also like, again, it is cool that we are getting a few shows for Epic Universe. Anyway, so that's just kind of my thought. Those are just a few ideas here and there. What I'd like to see from the Villain Land, I think it would be kind of cool. Like, what else would I like to see? I would like to see, like, maybe certain territories run by villains. That would be kind of cool. And I'm also curious as to what villains are going to show up, because obviously you can't show everybody. Like, obviously Maleficent, the Queen, Hook, Scar, they're going to get representation. But what about, like, Cruella? Or, well, Jafar's definitely going to get one. Same with Hades. Cruella also, probably. But, like, are you going to do some shout-outs to, like, Oogie Boogie, or the Headless Horseman, or Mad Madam Mim, or Ratigan, or Chernabog, or, well, I sincerely doubt we'll get anything of the Rescuers. That's just me asking too much. Frollo, I'd love to see it try to do Frollo at the park. That'd be hilarious. I know he has a walk-around character sometimes, but yeah, I think they've tried to push away from Frollo so much. Anyway, those are just a few ideas I had in my head. You guys tell me in the comments below, what would you like to see from a Disney Villain Land? Just comment below, let me know. Also, this is only, like, technically part 1, because I'm actually going to be doing a second video next, talking about the difference between the Universal Monster line and the Disney Villains line, and kind of talk about some, let's just say I'm going to be spouting some spicy words. Anyway, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.